welcome back to the HOT6ix CUP here, the final big match for 2013 here in Korea. I am Wolf, and I'm very especially joined by Ro8 today.
That's me.
That's you. And we're going into our second epic, Terran vs. Zerg. And this one is the match for me for the whole tournament of the round of 8, Bomber versus Sulky.
You know, I have to say, I actually thought that Sue versus Maru would be a lot closer. And actually, game 1 was quite nice. But after that, Maru ran away with it, so I'm a bit sad. I want a close match, because so far the round of 8 has been pretty one-sided.
Yeah, yesterday's matches were really one-sided.
Yeah.
We've already had 3 Zergs eliminated, so Sulky is, I think, gained some new fans probably after watching those. All the Zerg fans are saying, Sulky, you're the one. You're the only one who's going to be able to take that win potentially in our first 2 days here.
Well, I hope that he's able to take out Bomber, to be perfectly frank. I would love to see him go up against Maru the way that Maru was just playing, like see what would Sulky do against some of these crazy mech builds that are so strong. But we'll see if he can get through Bomber, because Bomber is the guy who eliminated him from BlizzCon.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal, because that was the biggest money tournament of the year.
That's true. Bomber's, though, saying that he feels kind of bad that he lost to some foreign players and lost in some tournaments early on. Didn't really get to show what he feels is his full potential. He wants revenge here. And I wonder if Bomber is feeling up to snuff, because when he's in the zone, he looks really, really good. And sometimes, you know, when he travels, he can show games that are a little bit off. Sometimes when he's coming back from traveling, because he travels so often, he can show games that are a little bit off. But I feel like he's had enough time to prepare and do really well in this match.
You know, I have to admit, I was traveling as well. I haven't gotten to see all the Bomber VODs, but most of his losses were to Scarlet, and I mean, she's one of the best Zergs in the world, so I don't think you can really count him out or even necessarily say he was like playing badly. It's just she can beat anyone. So
that's true.
As long as he doesn't let that affect him too much, because I know that there can be that mentality over here where it's like, oh, I lost to a foreigner. Well, I'm in a slump or something.
Well, he's definitely saying, you know, as we saw in the interview earlier, that he's like not happy with his results, but he feels like he can turn things around. So I think he's already shaking it off, saying, yes, I'll admit that I'm not happy with what happened over there, but I'm here now in this tournament, and I have one last chance to show great results here in 2013, and he's going to take that opportunity. That's what he really wants to do here. Ranked so highly in WCS, by the way, as you can see on screen. 8th place currently.
Yep, that's he's been pretty solid overall this year, which is not something that we say that often of him. Whereas this guy, the most solid, he actually performed the best this year out of everybody. And that's when you even compare to players like Maru and Deer, who just have been phenomenal.
Yeah.
But just Sulky, non-stop, all over the place, top rankings.
Yeah, he's just always such a high finisher. That's how he gets so many points. That's what puts him up at the top.
His match record is 72.5% wins, which when you're like the best Zerg in the world and you're only playing the best players in the world, that doesn't even make sense. That's one of the highest win percentages we've ever seen.
Yeah, it's incredibly hard to be able to get a win percentage like that in these leagues in Korea with the best players who are just phenomenal. And he's at the top rankings too, so he's being the best of the best consistently, and it's only nearly 75% win ratio.
And as we can see here, he has just done so well this year. His lowest result was a round of 8. Just got to throw that out there. When your lowest result for the year is a round of 8, that doesn't even make sense, Wolf. People don't do that. That's
what Sulky does. He's the only one.
And StarCraft 2 right now is like got more skill in it than ever before. Korea has more skill than ever before playing over here. So to have results like that, I'm blown away. Whereas Bomber's actually had a great year as well. He won the Season 2 finals, an unbelievably stacked tournament, got to the round of 4 at BlizzCon, and as we see, a round of 8, a round of 4 as well in WCS Korea's. That's really super legit.
Yeah, it certainly is. You can see that Bomber is coming off of a 7-3 in his last 10 matches, so he's got a pretty good record going to this. Did lose to Scarlet, as you mentioned, and won to her actually in later on in that tournament. But you see on the other side of things, Sulky has played against a lot of players from other regions like Oz, for example, Naniwa and Holt. And even players like Hack, they're not as high profile, but still in Korea he is beating the best.
That is right. Let's take a look at these maps. It's going to be Belshir Vestige, Derelict Watcher, Yonsu, Whirlwind, Polar Knight. What is your first instincts when you look at this map set?
My first instincts, it looks like Sulky has a tough time on Polar Knight since he's played 6 maps and only won 2 of them. On the other hand, I feel like the best map for Sulky is Derelict Watcher, as you can see here, but just looking at this as a Terran versus Zerg specifically, I feel like if things go long for Bomber, the first maps are better for Bomber for his style.
Yes.
So Sulky, if he can just hang in there and not get 3-0'd, the later maps can actually put him back in the series if he goes down early.
I have to agree with you on that one. I feel like if Sulky wins game 1, I think for him this is huge if he wins game 1. If he loses it, I think it's still okay. He can still absolutely win the series. But if he wins on Belshire, I find this series to be almost impossible for Bomber. I think Bomber has to win this first map.
Really, really important map to win as a Terran. There's so many different things you can do. It's such a safe and comfortable map for a Terran. That's also a short enough rush distance that you can do so many things with Bio. Also, could use mech on this map with the way the map works out with the valleys and the choke points.
Yeah, you know what? That's true. You could, but do you think Bomber is going to favor some mech?
I don't think he will. It's not really his style.
Yeah, I'm not feeling the mech from him so much, man. He likes to macro his Marines. He's so good at it, so...
Last time he mech'd in this studio against a Protoss, he got pretty wrecked too, so I bet he's probably thinking about that a little bit.
Yeah, he could be, Well, it looks like it's time to start, Wolf. Are you ready?
I'm ready, man. Let's jump into this Terran versus Zerg here. HOT6ix CUP, commentated by Joseph and Wolf. To the bottom right, in the red. From Startail, he is...
Startail Bomber.
So many fans internationally, you know, people named a curse after him for whenever you expect him to win, he doesn't. It's just so high profile.
And in the top left, the greatest Zerg player in the world.
Wongjin Star Soki.
Just so many top finishes in every single tournament. It's really great to see his results. Like the worst he ever did in the tournament was a round of 8.
I know.
How can you even call that worst? You can't use that word.
No, round of 8 is like the cutoff where you're doing so well.
It says that Sulky's hungry, and the chicken there said victory next to it, so I guess he's hungry for a victory.
No doubt. He's, you know, I felt like he was a favorite going into almost every single tournament of the year. But didn't end up winning that many of the tournaments. You know, really great finishes overall. But only one championship this year. Well, I guess WCG just happened, so that's actually his second championship.
This is pretty crazy. Sulky's going to come in here and think it's a proxy because Bomber has hidden both of his depot. Okay, now he's just the depot in the main, but he doesn't see the barracks to the south. He's got to check for that. But had he only Overlord scouted, he would have no idea about what's happening.
And he's actually now going pool first. So this has actually worked out so well for Bomber. This was
exactly what he wanted.
Such a smart play from him. He's really tricked him out. Look at that. That when you go pool first, that you don't want to go pool first against Terran, absolutely not. But I mean, if they're proxy raxing, you can do it, which is what he really thought was going on.
Yeah, that was a really cool building placement by Boxer. Just get into his opponent's head right away from the start in game 1. Now he knows the truth, but it's not going to make him feel any better about the fact that he went pool first now.
Yeah. Well, that's a nice start for him overall. So Bomber's kind of on so far, doesn't it seem?
Yeah, I think this is starting really good for him.
Well, we'll see if he can push this into the later game because, you know, this map in particular, like this is a map I kind of want to see go away, to be honest. And the thing is, I'm a Protoss player. I love this map. Every matchup.
It's great for
Give
Protoss.
me this map all day, every day. But I feel like this map for Zerg is such a pain. When you're trying to take that 4th base...
it's a nightmare.
It's a nightmare. And when Bomber's on 3 bases, pushing towards your 4th and dropping somewhere else, that's going to be where it's really, really difficult for Sulky. So that's where Bomber, I think, really wants to get to in this game.
Well, he's going to get there with some aggression to start, actually, going into 3 barracks very early. And, you know, we've seen this by Bomber in all matchups except TVT, but against Protoss as well, he's known to go into triple barracks after a 1-rax expand to put a lot of Marine aggression on. And the unfortunate thing for Sulky is he's not a Protoss. He doesn't have a mothership core, so he has to be really concerned about this.
Yes, indeed. Whereas someone with a mothership core doesn't need to be concerned about very much at all in the early game.
Not really. But there's no Overlord to see this. And as long as he hides his Marines in the main base and surprises him, this could be really, really good.
That's true. You know, Bomber always has been a player that will mix in this build, as you say, Wolf, and it is very, very scary. If it comes out of nowhere, you suddenly have that critical mass of Marines where Zerglings don't do so well against it, and then you put it up like in between the minerals and hatchery or something, you just reduce the surface area that it can be attacked on, and the amount of damage it does is astounding. Maybe you won't kill a hatchery, But you can get in, you can cancel thirds, you can kill some drones, you can kill off queens, force a lot of lings. It's pretty powerful.
And the Overlord comes in the wrong direction here, sees the gas, and now Bomber could send 2 Marines only to push the Overlord away, and still the barracks will not be revealed.
Yeah. This is fantastic play. He's even getting that combat shield to make sure they have that little bit of extra hit points to deal with everything. And there go the 2 Marines, as you say, Wolf.
Yep.
Everything here is really well planned by a Bomber. To, for instance, take that gas to make sure that the Overlord sees that there's gas.
Yeah, following it with the SCV, not the best choice, I feel. But
Trying to repair it.
It looks really cute.
It's a nice
He's like trying to grab he's trying to grab the Overlord, try to help out.
SCV's wiggling his hips. Well, that's one less SCV on gas now, which could be a mistake.
Ooh, even cancels the second gas. He's being so tricky here. He shows it, cancels it intentionally, and
right now, do you think, because looking at what he's seen, I could see Sulky thinking that this is a triple command right away.
yeah.
I feel like that may be what Bomber has tried to portray. And you know what? 17 Marines or so with combat shield walking across the map against someone that has 6 Zerglings and 4 Queens. He's going to force a cancel on this third base.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. He's done this from time to time against Zergs, just hiding, going for the combat shield. We've seen this exactly before. He's going to get an Overlord for free, which will supply Black Sulky further. And this is absolutely, without a doubt, in my mind, going to kill this base. And it could kill a lot more because there's no more Zerglings than 8, so he's going to have 14 Zerglings in total with only 4 Queens.
And combat shields is like literally seconds from finishing. You know what? Is he waiting for that to finish, that hatchery, it looks like?
Maybe.
Yeah,
it looks like
he wants a kill on it.
Yeah, and he sees the Baneling Nest isn't done, and he's like, I can just kill this.
Yeah,
no
and he's actually going to get the kill. Normally you don't. You actually force the cancel because that's when it goes up, but he was very smart to wait there, especially after killing that Overlord, and it looks like this should not be an issue. He should be able to just target this down.
Yep. Zergling's not getting that surface area. Speed finishes, but it doesn't matter if they can't surround it. He needs to target the hatchery, though.
Well, you know what? There's actually possibly transfusion energy, so actually it looks like he's not going to quite get this hatchery. Sorry.
Well, yeah, I thought he was going to get it for sure.
Well, it looks like he wanted to end up killing the Zerglings off instead, but you know what? That was still a very effective push, I would say. He killed a lot of Zerglings. He forced a lot more out. But not as effective as maybe it could have been.
Yeah,
was he too greedy to wait for it to finish?
Yeah, that's the question, and I think maybe he was just a little bit.
Well, I think we have to point towards and say if he had moved in the second he had gotten there, that amount of extra damage.
Plus, I mean, the hatchery can't be transfused while it's being built.
And I think that Sulky would have looked at it and said, okay, you know what, my Zerglings are too far from finishing. I'm going to cancel this. So I think that was a mistake by Bomber.
Now he has Sulky a lot of extra gas too because he didn't need to make any Banelings, and he's got double upgrades going out. Speed is up, and also the Spire. He wouldn't be able to have all of those things going at once if he had to make, say, 8 Banelings or even 4 Banelings, you know, as comfortably. So it would cost him a little bit of gas there. So I like his position a lot.
Yeah, I'm totally liking Sulky's position. The more I look at this now, his creep spread is pretty fantastic. He didn't lose any queens. He didn't lose any drones. He just had to use Zerglings there. It doesn't matter if your hatchery's red as long as it's not dead.
Yeah.
He's going to have Baneling speed and 1-1, and his 1-1 is actually just a few seconds ahead of the 1-1 of Bomber. So, I mean, there's nothing really that bad going on for him. He should be feeling nice.
He also is scouting that Bomber has added 2 additional barracks with reactors at the front with his Overseer. He sees the timing of the armory, and so he just has all the information. I don't think he saw the siege tanks that Bomber is adding in here, which is stylistically something that he's shown switching into before anybody else really, before the patch even adding siege tanks in every now and then and Heart of the Swarm. So he's going to have potentially a really strong push coming out with all these barracks he's powered up right now with the siege tanks.
Do you think he's going to stay on siege tanks instead of Widow Mines, or you think he'll switch out?
Yeah, I think he will, because most of the time, most of the Terran players who are doing the siege tanks use them earlier because they're much more effective early, and then later on switch into Widow Mines because Widow Mines are good against Zerglings and, of course, against Mutalisks, which our siege tanks cannot fire upwards. So they lose some of that utility.
That's very true. Well, 8 Mutas are out on the map, so he's at least going to be able to start dealing with these drops, and with Baneling speed as well as use Zerglings. Looks like this first medevac should be taken out easily.
Yep. He's not even going to target, actually, Bomber, that is. So he doesn't get really anything out there.
He maybe could have gotten 1 Mutalisk. I don't even think so with Sulky actually looking at it. Yep. So, no biggie. But he does have his third up. He's starting to secure it a little bit. But you know what? With the creep spreads pushed towards the left, I think Sulky has to take his 4th on the left side of the map. I think if he takes it there, suddenly this position that Bomber has made for himself is not nearly as powerful as it could have been.
Yeah, if he takes a position on the left side, then what he can do with that is use the Mutalisk to defend that base and his main base against drops, secure the area. Bomber is powering up a lot of barracks here, and he's also adding the Widow Mines in, making that switch that I talked about. I feel like he's going to do one of these SC FOU type parade pushes pretty soon, where he's just going to constantly rally units towards the fourth base and never stop.
But the problem is the fourth base is on the other side. The creep spread is completely covering it. I feel like this is a really nice position for Sulky. Now, losing a few mutas, that's a little bit painful. But he's basically trying to hit the rally point and saying, Bomber, you're not that safe with this rally push right now.
Yeah. And he's got the upgrades coming out to back this up as well. 2-2 not far away from Bombers. The Mutalisk count is getting higher here. He did lose a few Mutalisks early on, which, like you said, is a little bit painful. That third SCV was never replaced in the gas by Bomber, as you can see here. That's something to note. Now, he as soon as I said that, he puts 2 more in.
Well, you know what? Bomber, he's going to have 2-2. He's going to have his drilling claws, and that's still very scary. Even though I like the position that Sulky's in, how he's set himself up, Bomber is on 3 bases. The fourth is a little bit slow for Sulky, I'd say. So Bomber still has his chances. If he gets a couple good Widowmine connections, if he micros well, he can still push right through this.
And you know that move out that we saw there, to me, speaks volumes. It says that Bomber still thinks the base is going to be on the right side, and it's not. He hasn't seen the base on the left side. He's thinking about this match totally differently than he should be. That was a close call, but Mutalisk getting some pickoffs here. It's always risky to do this, but if you get a few units for free, it's quite nice.
Yeah. You know what? I love that he keeps hitting that rally route, because that's going to be one of the areas where your units are a little bit more thin. And what that's going to do is oftentimes force Bomber to do something like rally behind his wall and then move units. And that's going to take a lot more actions, a lot more difficult to do.
Yeah. Really nice splits here by Bomber on his Marines. On the other hand, completely crushing this push, taking no losses, only repairing a bunker with the Mule. And he's still pushing his units to the right side because he knows the creep's not there. And he's hoping the hatchery is there as well. I don't think he's scanned. Okay, now he's starting to get an idea, it looks like.
Yeah, he knows what's going on at this point. So he's going to start cleaning up a lot of this creep. Unfortunately for him, there's actually creep behind where he's scanned. And that's really going to help him out. Yeah. Sulky out, that is.
That gives extra vision to Sulky as well. And here comes the attack. He's actually just got so much Zerg here. Can Bomber split against this? I don't think Bomber has enough here. He's on creep as well still.
And even though some of these Banelings have hit siege tanks, he cleans up Bomber's army in a matter of seconds. But Bomber has a lot more back here. Sulky needs to be careful not to overexert himself.
I really like how he picked off some of those units though, but a huge shot on those mutas. And there's just way too many Marines. He thought those Banelings were going to connect. They did not.
That's right. He's taking a lot of damage on these mutas, but as long as they aren't attacked for just a little bit here, they're going to be able to heal up. He needs to stay on top of his macro, though, and he is. His minerals are staying very, very low. He's continuing to make Banelings and Zerglings and rally those out. As long as he can do that and keep this fourth base mining, he's going to be okay.
This parade push from Bomber coming out right now is looking stronger and stronger all the time because of the 3-3, but really, realistically, if Sulky can take engagements like this on creep over and over again, he's going to get ahead at the end of the day because he can have a better tech.
Nice scan here from Bomber, realizing that those creep tumors were behind. He really needs the creep out of here and the vision of the Zerg player especially out of here, and that's exactly what he's doing. In the meantime, the fourth command center coming up, and his 3-3 is going to finish up. That's going to be the next point where Bomber has a lot more power than Sulky.
Yeah. And he's got a good position right now. The Baneling split's here, non-existent, but there's just the Banelings are not getting the best hits. There's a split there at the bottom of the ramp. There's so many Widow Mines, it's very difficult for Sulky to actually engage, and he doesn't have... Ooh! This is not good trace.
Yeah, it's not quite working out for Sulky right this moment, but he's got a lot of Banelings here, and they're going to start to roll in. The Mutalisk coming from the side for a flank, and a pretty decent Widowmine connection there on the Banelings.
Yeah, that was actually pretty good for Bomber, but at the same time, Sulky's continuing to hold on to this base. He even consider taking the fifth base to the right side. Soon, if he holds a few more of these waves, start to build up that bank. Picking off a medevac here, trying to get a second one. The Baneling connections are good, and Bomber needs to be a little bit more careful with his units there at the bottom of the ramp.
You know what? Sulky's actually getting some pretty good utility out of these mutas. He's keeping them alive overall. He's picking off units left and right. And he's keeping his supply up there. But Bomber is going to be maxing out. He just hit 3-3, and that's where the Marines become so scary against the 2-2 Lings. And what do these mutas have? They only have +1 attack.
The Banelings as well get targeted down so much quicker with this. Those Banelings did basically nothing. That's so much gas he's spending here on pure Marines. Pure Marines that are only, mineral units.
Well, Bomber continuing to push forward. He's splitting quite well, but there are a lot of Banelings here. Does he have enough Widow Mines to really prevent these units from cleaning up? And, well, with 4 more coming up, it looks like, yes, he does.
Yep, he's just not able to push through these Marines. So much armor on them. The Banelings going down here without doing any damage. Now the Mutalisks have no shield. This is a big problem. Here comes the next wave of Banelings on the other hand. Widowmine's shot is excellent, but he's finally starting to push Bomber back a little bit.
Well, you know what? Bomber actually very sloppily just got 4 or 5 mines picked off from that flock of Mutas, and only 1 Mutalisk was lost during all of that, which is astoundingly good control from sulky.
And Sulky's actually going to push this one back relatively easily as well. The Mine's getting 1 good shot there on those Zerglings. Bomber continuing to push through. It's all about the Banelings. If there are no Banelings, that's when the Marines are going to be able to do exactly what they want. He's got so many Marines now. The split here is awesome.
And a few of the Banelings actually do end up connecting, but does he have enough units? It looks like the answer is no, and this 4th base is looking like it may go down. A lot of drones are falling, more Banelings coming with these Mutas, but the Marines are just rallying in.
Yeah, the Marines rallying in, pushing the Mutalisks back, killing so many drones now. This base no longer belongs. It no longer belongs to Sulky, it belongs to Bomber, and it will go down. This is a great position for Bomber right now.
He just lost like 9 Mutalisks and his 4th base. He's desperate at this point.
He's basically, I mean, he's basically all in because he doesn't have their base doesn't have any economy to fall back on. He made 1 swarm host by mistake. You can see he's stressed out.
Yeah. Well, you know, sometimes people do try to use a single swarm host to trigger more mines, but I don't think that that's appropriate right now. Maybe earlier on in the game.
I mean, some free units here can help out, but
you know, I have to say, Wolf, I feel like this game is already over. Bomber has landed his 4th command center. He's killed the 4th of Sulky, and really that's where TVZs are decided when you're going bio against Baneling Muta.
Yeah, it's can you kill the Zerg's 4th and or securely take your own 4th with 3-3?
Yeah, and he's done both.
Yeah, he's done both. I mean, it's a 4-base Terran against a 3-base Zerg. The Terran has better upgrades, still has most of his medevacs out. Even in economy, the Widow Mines are still alive, and he is just going to walk across the map and just keep taking better trades because his economy is so much better.
He just needs to keep rallying through, and I gotta say, I really did like Sulky's opening overall. He did very well against that Marine push that actually caught him off guard. You know, I loved his creep spread, the fact that he expanded to the left-hand side when Bomber was kind of trying to do the rally push towards the right. Everything about the way Sulky played was nice, and he had some good Mutalisk control and everything. But Bomber still is ending up winning this game. Yep. And this is what you were talking about before. How well is he going to play? And it looks like he's playing phenomenally.
He's in the zone right now for sure, and he just kept making that push work over and over and over again. Never got tired, never made any mistakes with his micro, just kept wearing Sulky down, running him out of Larva, running him out of Banelings constantly. He's going to push this back. We'll repair that command center. I like that he's removed his natural to take even a 5th command center, so he's actually got fully saturated bases instead of just making a new one waiting for that time. And look at the bank he already built up here. He's just wasting Banelings here because he knows his opponent's gas income is no longer ideal.
Yep, that's it's a good move. I mean, Bomber's on top of everything, even going to take this base out. In the meantime, the Mutas were harassing in the main base, but does that even matter at this point? Bomber is taking a 5th at the moment.
And the Mutas are actually starting to go down here. He doesn't even need turrets. He has Marines and Widow Mines set up, doing so much AoE damage. The Marines come to clean things up. Look at how many Marines he's rallied into the main base here. There's no way the Mutas are going to get anything done, not even able to snipe any add-ons. He's trying to find something, trying to find some gap, some avenue to get back into this game, but Bomber is giving him no quarter right now.
Well, you know what? He's at least getting some harassment done. He's picking off a few Marines here and there. Oh, God.
At least he looked at the right moment. That could have been a disaster.
You know, he's trying to gain value anywhere he can. He does realize that at least Bomber is getting mined out at certain locations, so maybe he can fight back.
The Mutas are almost trapped here.
They're trapped.
They're 100% trapped now. Oh, they get to the right side barely, but here come the rest of the Marines. He can burrow those Widow Mines as well.
Wow. Really great map awareness here from Bomber to be able to surround Mutalisks in 360 degrees like that. And also 359 degrees, I guess, is really what it was.
Also really good pulls by Sulky there when he realized he was being surrounded. He was able to escape, losing very little. He's trying to make a lot happen with very little, which is what you need to do as a Zerg player when you're behind like this.
It's a difficult task, though. You know, this is kind of a small map, and Bomber's making it smaller and smaller by pushing this creep spread back.
He's getting a lot of value on these Mulas. The biggest objective, though, for Sulky right now has to be to secure another base because he's never going to finish this game on 3, no matter how cost-efficient he is. Bomber has way too much money. He has 2,700 minerals, and more importantly, as a Terran, he has 2,000 gas. He's not even really mining gas right now because he doesn't need to.
No, he certainly does not. He's banking at this point, so even if he starts losing things, it doesn't matter. Look at this. A lot of missile turrets coming up. This is so smart because he's got 2 mining bases against 1 right now. All he needs to do is turtle them up so they can't be killed, and then he can just attack without reservation.
He has over 100 Marines. I mean, he has that, and they are all 3-3, and they're going to make quick work of this army. And he's making 5 barracks right now, so if he loses every single Marine, he can make them so quickly. Oh, the Mulas! No, 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 no! I think he knows this game is over.
It will be CNGG in a matter of seconds. There you have it. And Bomber with some really impressive play in game number 1.
The resilience with that push coming at the 4th base. It was not the base that Bomber expected Sulky to take, and it was a smart choice by Sulky to take that base. His creep was there, and he always held the high ground. But eventually, Bomber's good micro and his constant aggression without skipping a beat his macro wore Sulky down there.
You know what? I was actually a little bit surprised. It looked like Sulky just felt like he was going to hold that base, you know, having it be on high ground, having all that creep there. I feel like he was maybe a little bit overconfident in holding that. And something that we've seen from Sulky in the past to defeat great Terran players, especially on maps like this, and especially players such as Innovation, is actually running around and doing more counterattacks. We saw one small counterattack at the 3rd base of Bomber, which was held off because he was still rallying there. But maybe he could have done a little bit more. There was only 1 bunker and 1 missile turret there for a big portion of the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's the type of style that we saw at the very last seconds of the game where he was trying to make those Mulas do something. That sort of run-by style that we've seen from him ever since he switched to StarCraft 2, back from Brood War. I mean, when he was first switched to StarCraft 2, that was what he was best known for, is his run-bys, his constant aggression. And I'm hoping that we get to see a little bit more out of that in game number 2 on Derelict Watcher here.
Well, I think Sulky still did play well. You know, it's a hard decision if you're going to leave that 4th base because it's probably going to die. You have to deal a lot of damage somewhere else. But Belshire Vestige, as I was saying, if he wins that, that's huge. If he loses it, not a big deal. That's like probably the best map here for Bomber. That's just, it's a map that fits all of Bomber's skills perfectly. So no biggie, no biggie. Here we go, Derelict Watcher, new map, new mindset. Sulky just has to stay calm.
Yep. Can Bomber stay calm as well? He took the best map for him, but going forward, it's looking a little bit better for Sulky. Let's jump into game number 2 on Derelict Watcher. This is the HOT6ix CUP 2013, commentated today by Wolf and Artosis.